Tubers, tubettes, the ever-widening circle of crazy people. I think you know I like to tell the truth always on my channel. I've been in America now for going on almost 2 weeks. I've been away from baby May. I'm extremely lonely. And I'm going to confess right here and now that I just met this guy in the bar at the casino at the hotel I'm staying at. And I've brought him back to my bedroom with me. So, sir, what is your name?
Jeffrey.
And Jeffrey, how is it you came to Ellis Island this week?
Well, I thought I'd get lucky with the old dog.
So, what happened here is Jeffrey contacted me a little bit prior to me coming out here and decided that because of your little trip you're doing right now,
To
he could
California.
do a little side trip out here and come visit with me. And that's just totally awesome. And so this is one of the guys that I've been talking to for like ever. I guess he's been super bored during COVID, and he ran out of Matlock. He ran out of NCIS.
Don't forget Gunsmoke.
Netflix canceled him due to non-payment. And so now he started watching YouTube basically because it's free. And then he found my channel. And what happened? How did that happen? I'm breaking your balls. You were watching YouTube during about the free part.
Yeah, well, you're actually pretty on point. You know, it's like I'd never really experienced YouTube until COVID, and suddenly I landed on your channel, and I could relate on so many levels as far as what you were talking about, and and your experiences and everything, and I just kind of, vicariously started living through you while I'm stranded with COVID.
And you're a married guy.
I am.
And you live in Florida.
I do.
And there's a subscriber in Florida, and we can't think of his name, but if you're watching, he'd like to be in touch with you.
Yeah, you're in St. Pete, and I'm having one of those CRS moments that I cannot remember your name, but I know you're in St. Pete, and we ought to get together because I'm in Clearwater.
Okay. So you started watching the channel about 2 years ago, and what was your initial impression? I mean, how did that come into your radar? Because were you planning on going to the Philippines, or did you start looking for places to retire? What was the genesis of all that kind of stuff? Or were you just bored during COVID?
To be honest, I was bored during COVID. Had no interest in the Philippines or anything like that. That's why and I don't know how these crazy ass algorithms work, but suddenly you popped up, as a suggested channel, and I thought, oh, what the heck?
What were you watching when I popped up? I'm just curious. I just thought of that question. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I said, I'm really, at that time, I was a relative virgin to YouTube. And so I had just started, exploring YouTube and everything, and the algorithm, popped it as suggested video to watch, and I clicked on it, and the rest is history.
All right, cool. And so you're on what kind of trip right now? You're going to go do what?
I'm headed to California. There's a group of us, bunch of guys that we rent 2 houseboats, and we on Shasta Lake every year. Have been doing it for over 25 years.
Isn't that great? That's awesome.
A guy's weekend, 4 days.
That's cool to have connections like that. I think Jeffrey here is blessed to have that kind of rhythm going with the guys for 25 years. You've got to cherish those friendships, yeah?
Oh, I do. My best friend in California, it's like we go back decades and decades, and it's like, yep, great, to never let it die.
Yeah. So what was your impression? You and I have had a chance to talk. You've asked me a couple of questions about the channel and what you liked about it and this and that and the other. Anything that you'd like to share with the folks that you may have learned or not learned or found out while you were here hanging out?
Well, like I'd expressed to you, I kind of initially liked your channel, how you talk, how real and down to earth it was and everything, and I just kind of, vicariously get to enjoy and live and learn about the Philippines and everything. And it's kind of like you became a friend, even though we'd never met. And and now that I've actually had the pleasure of meeting, spending time, breaking bread together and stuff like this, that it's like, it's even more so, in person than I would have, thought or imagined. It was well worth the trip and the stop, to spend lunch with you, because I'm only here in Vegas for the 6 hours, so that we could grab a bite to eat.
And then you're bugging back and you're going on your trip, right?
Yep.
So
We leave in 2 hours.
Okay. So you actually you got in and then you made a side trip here to Vegas and you Ubered over to the hotel, which I appreciate so much. And then we had an opportunity to actually meet in person. And we have been chatting back and forth for how long? We've been friends on Messenger and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, like I said, since COVID started, that's
Since
when I
COVID.
started following you.
And how long have we been talking though? But you and me just chit-chatting about stuff.
Well, it was probably 3-4 months into it as I was learning what you could. I was new to YouTube, and
Sure.
I didn't even know that that I could communicate with you until I started seeing your lives, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, I can actually talk to you, and
Yeah.
you'll reply.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a neat learning experience for me.
I gotta tell you, the one that's lucky is me, because Jeffery is just indicative of the folks that I've been meeting the entire time that I've been over here. Just guys that have been able to relate on some level or another to what goes on in my life. And I think you guys kind of see me as what I am, which is just an average Joe. I'm just a guy. I don't have any special skills. I've never been a multimillionaire. I don't do anything extraordinary other than share some of my life experiences. And I think it sometimes that resonates with people on an emotional level. I think sometimes when you're honest with people and honest with yourself and you throw that out onto the World Wide Web, that there's a connection that can be formed there, because it allows people that may be going through a similar difficulty or experiencing the exact same victory now has a partner in crime. And so I'm just grateful for guys like you that watch the show and support the show.
Not
actually
half as grateful as we are, to have you, in our lives, even though it's from afar, but yet, it's kind of neat that you're here in the States, because I was sitting here thinking, damn, it's going to take a while before I can actually somehow get to the Philippines.
Right.
And now you're here and I'm going, wait a second, I can pull this off somehow, some way.
God, that's just so awesome. It just boggles my mind that so many, like at the meeting in California, the little gathering, there were people that drove up from Arizona. Everybody's offered to give me rides. My friend Tim has driven me around for a couple of 3 days, acted like my own driver. I was able to hook up with my kids, see my father, do all this other kind of stuff. And while all that was great, and seeing my dad, of course, was the cherry, and my kid was the cherry on the top. Both of those two things. If I'd only done those two things, this would have been mission accomplished. But the big bonus is meeting the Jeffries of the world. And this guy here, I happen to know to be a solid human being. And he was curious about how I vlog.
That's what's been great for me as a learning experience.
And you want to tell him how complicated this is?
I truly had no concept of what we're doing or what you do, and I wanted to know. And then when you show me,
he
and I
wanted
go,
to come
what?
in and see. He goes, "How do you do this?" So I just showed him. You want to tell him how complicated this is?
I'm looking at his phone. That's it.
That's it. And I have a microphone plugged in.
Oh yeah.
And we're on a $5 tripod.
High tech.
And so what we're going to do after this video is I wanted to, I didn't have an opportunity to interview anybody while I was here. And this is not like a typical interview where I delve into his life and what's going on and what his future goals and plans and stuff are, because basically
It'd be boring.
I just don't care.
That makes two of us.
No, I do. He's told me some stuff about his life that's fascinating and stuff that I didn't know. Every time, I'll tell you where I win, is every time I meet a guy like Jeffrey and the other cats that I met earlier in the week, I've learned so much about them. And they've all got, what's interesting to me is how much everyone has to offer and how much goodness there is in the world. And sometimes I think we get a little jaded and faded, you know. We watch the evening news or we read the paper or we just have a bad day or it gets mundane. And I think sometimes we kind of almost lose faith, you know, in humanity. And I can tell you that there's plenty of it to go around. And I think that, you know, you reap what you sow. You throw it out there and you get it back.
So true.
I'm really concerned about America right now, which I said in the previous video, just because I see so much stress and pressure on people. Jeffrey doesn't have that issue. He's got beautiful family, everything's set up. He's having some issues with his wife's health, but that's part of life. But his kids are doing well. And I could go on and on and on and on. But I'm just so happy that, you know, the people that I've talked to over the years and never had an opportunity to meet, now I can put a face to the person. And conversely, we can get together. You know my face. I mean, you knew me.
Yep, you were easy to find.
I was easy to find, but
yep.
I'm really not clear on who it is I'm meeting. I'm just kind of looking around to see if they show up and introduce themselves to me. So, we won't make it a long video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an opportunity to see one of the guys that I met and had an opportunity to come back to my room with me. And I've only got another hour with him, so I'm going to make the most of it, if you know what I mean.
Anyway, any of you ever get the opportunity, if you have the chance, don't miss it. You know, as far as he is a blast to talk, to get to know. I mean, I thought that I knew him, you know, by watching him and you know, living vicariously through him and, you know, being able to participate by watching his video diary, so to speak. But yeah, you're doing yourself a big disservice if you don't get a chance to, you know, to meet with him and spend some time. It was a blast.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, brother. And again, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the new subscribers, all the views. I'm looking forward to doing some more videos, especially when I get home. I've got a lot of stuff I want to recap, but I haven't finished my trip yet. So I'm sure there's a few more stories that are waiting to be told. I just haven't heard them yet. All right, kids. We'll see you on the next video.